5 uncapped players in 2024 who could, I hope, win their first caps. World Cup is done. Guys are retiring left, right and centre. And some squads in certain positions are looking a wee bit lighter. I'm going to go through 5 guys who I would like to see or potentially could get their first test caps in 2024. You guys can let us know your thoughts on who you reckon might also be worthy of a shout. For this one, I've written up a piece for Planet Rugby, so check that out down in the description. So there's a few more kind of tasty tidbits in the written piece than just me blathering away here, but certainly Planet Rugby is a good source for your rugby news generally. The first one I'm going to go with is a South African guy, and it is... Oh man, it's going to be a front rower, isn't it? Because, I mean, we're talking South Africa. You guys love your front rowers, but Johan Grobler from the Bulls. He's been in the Springboks squad before, but not quite managed to get himself that test cap yet. And it's tough because you got Malcolm Marx and you got Bongi and Bonambi. Those are your two kind of premier hookers, and they're probably, properly world-class guys that are very hard to displace. Bongi's in his early 30s and Malcolm's in his late 20s, so there's still a bit of gas in the tank for those guys. But the third choice spot still remains a bit of a mystery. They obviously tinkered around the World Cup by including Dion Fourie as the kind of utility guy who could cover hooker. But I'm not sure if you were going into an extended campaign or something whether you would kind of want Dion to be doing that role game after game if you were without the likes of a Bongi or a Malcolm. And Dion's 37. So I feel like they need that next guy off the rank. And I think it's Grobler because they've tried Dweber. And to be honest, he's had, I think, 6 games. I forget how many minutes he's had. But he's not done enough yet to really justify the selection. So I reckon Grobler, who's been great for the Bulls. I mean, I love my stats. I think he's only missed 1 tackle thus far in the early stages of the URC season. He's got a bit of a hamstring injury at the moment, but good ball carrier, good tackler. The Bulls line out is solid without being spectacular, but yeah, man, I just think I think he's at 25, soon to be 26. He just seems to be the next cab off the rank, and it'd be great to see a guy kind of get promoted from the internal ranks of the URC. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys playing abroad, but players also need to know that they can stick around in South Africa, earn their stripes, and then potentially get some Springboks glory. I reckon he might be the guy. He's young enough. He's got the skill set. He's consistent. So can he take the step up? Or always remains the question, but I reckon he is worth a shout. The next guy, it's a back, and it's one of your French guys in Nolan Legarac. He has gotten as close as you can get to getting his first cap without getting his first cap. He has been on the bench for France for the game against Italy in the 2023 Six Nations at the start of this year. Didn't get off the bench. It was France against Italy. I think if France had mopped the floor with Italy, he would already be capped. But because France didn't get more than a 7-point lead, I forget what the score was, 27-24 or something close. It was a close game. So Antoine Dupont played the entire game. So the number 9 jersey in France, the door is open slightly with Dupont heading off, or at least focusing on the Olympics and the Sevens, at least for 2024. So if there is a time for Legarac to get a go, I feel like 2024 is his chance. He's only 21. He's playing regular rugby for Racing 92. He's scored a couple of tries this season. He's set up, I think, 4. Obviously, you would like your scrum half to be setting up more than they score themselves. I think if they're doing their job properly, you never know. Some guys prefer to have a carry. Cam Roygaard's popular here in New Zealand for that reason. But yeah, man, he kicks goals, sets up tries. Young player. I reckon 2024 is the chance to give him a go. Obviously, the pecking order in France's halfbacks is pretty competitive. Luku has tended to be the guy just one down from Dupont, and when Dupont's back, it's almost not even a conversation. But still, Legarac, I think 2024 is his chance to get some game time. From New Zealand, I'm going to go with a lock. I'm just going to put PPP because his name is Puddy Parkinson. He's a big lock. A big old lock. He's played for the Māori All Blacks before. Never quite made it to Test rugby just yet. We've obviously had a competitive situation here in New Zealand where we've had Retallick, Whitelock, and Scotty Barrett as your kind of three premier locks, and they've experimented with various guys as that fourth kind of lock, the likes of Vai and the other guy from the Chiefs. But I can't remember his name Josh Lord, that's the guy. But yeah, Puddy Parkinson, I feel like if not for constantly getting long-term injuries, would have already been there. He's massive. He's over 2 meters tall, 204 centimeters, so 2 meters plus, proper bit of tall timber. The Highlanders website's got him at 140 kilos. He used to be at 120. He's a big bit of beef. So if the All Blacks, and assuming he can stay fit, are looking for a big kind of unit to bulk up their forward pack, this is definitely a guy. Like, he's not a guy who you want to be lifting at line-out time very often because he is such a behemoth of a man. You know, more like in the Will Skelton, not quite to that degree, but more in that kind of frame of build than, they're kind of one of your more agile guys who you like chucking up, but the All Blacks are quite happy to chuck up their loose forwards at line-out times. But, yeah, man, he's definitely going to be on Scott Robertson's radar. So, if he can stay fit, he's a big unit, big defensive powerhouse. He's not the hugest ball carrier because he's just such a behemoth of a man, but scrum time, set piece, defensively, a big unit, and with our locking stocks looking a little bit thinner, I think he could be worth a shout. I'm going to go with an Englishman next and kind of switch back to the backs. Caden Murley, absolute pure kind of attacking winger. I love watching this guy play for Harlequins. Last season, across all games for Quins that he played, be it Premiership, Champions Cup, he had a record of 18 tries in 23 games, which is pretty tidy. Scores a lot of tries in a really attacking Quins team, and he gets all those stats that you love in a winger. He beats defenders, he gets clean breaks, he chews through run meters, he can kick the ball. He's not the most huge guy, but he's powerful. For his size, I think he's only like 175 in terms of centimeters tall, so not massive. But like I said, some of those guys who aren't built that big can still kind of, look at Cheslin Colby. He's small on a rugby field, but geez, he's powerful. So not putting Murley quite in that conversation just yet. But man, I reckon the guy needs a chance at international level. There's been a few guys who've been given cracks at international level for England, and they've kind of liked to do fullbacks on the wing. They've played Stewart on the wing and they've played Mayland on the wing. But something about having kind of like an out-and-out attacking winger like Murley, I feel like he could certainly add some value. And Johnny May, I mean, he's retiring, so at least from international. So, why not? He can play on both wings. I'd love to see it. Caden Murley. And the last one, I'm not sure if he'll get a chance at international level. He's played for the emerging Ireland side from memory, but Antoine Frisch, who's had a bit of a journeyman's path to kind of getting to play for Munster in the URC. He's Ireland qualified because he's got an Irish grandparent, grew up in France, played a lot of second division rugby over there, got a crack at Bristol, and then has finally made his way to Munster. So he's 27. So he's a similar age bracket to the guys he would be competing with for Ireland duties, the likes of, Ringrose is, I think, 28, and Henshaw's 30, and I think Aki is like 32 or 33. So he's marginally younger than the established kind of Irish midfield guys. But bloody hell, he's looking so good for Munster. He's just a proper, and maybe, as I said, maybe he's not the perfect fit for international rugby in that, like, if you look at his numbers, very attacking minded. You'd like his, tackling percentage and whatnot to be a wee bit higher, but Munster plays some attacking rugby these days. Gone are the Van Graan days where it was all a bit tough to watch at times. It was a bit dour, but they play some exciting rugby, and a huge part of that is Antoine Frisch just linking up in the midfield. Like, how many times did Munster score a try these days? And the guy who passed it like 2 passes before the try gets scored is this fella in the midfield. They've pretty much exclusively deployed him at 13. But I know he played a fair bit at 12, both in France and at Bristol. So pretty versatile. He can cover both parts of the midfield. Proper X-Factor player. As I said, Irish qualified 27, so should be coming into the peak of his powers. But compared to the other three, like, you've got open spot for the third hooker spot with South Africa. DuPont's doing the old sevens thing. You got New Zealand 2 locks just left. And then you got Johnny May retiring. So they all kind of seem to have a natural potential replacement element there. But Frisch is the one, like Ringrose is the guy. So he's probably going head-to-head with Ringrose. I mean, there's Hume as well, who's in the mix, who's being capped. But I don't know. There's just something really exciting about watching Antoine Frisch play for Munster. And, I would just love to see him get a crack at test level to see if he can replicate that kind of form. But there you go, folks. 5 guys I would like to see capped internationally in 2024. How many of these 5 can you see getting capped? Who else? This is certainly not a complete list. I've just limited it to 5. Who are 5 guys that you would like to see get a run in 2024? You guys let us know your thoughts. Check out Planet Rugby once again down in the description. And, yes, talk to you guys again soon. See you later.